I.S.U.P.K.
So tell me, how can I turn the other cheek while this wicked world trying to smother me? Something gotta shake, I'm gonna cry it out. Time to gird up my loins and ride out. In my soul I feel devastation. In my eyes I see desolation. On my door, death is waiting. But I don't wanna see no more desolation.
Commandments ain't going nowhere, brother. They not going nowhere, sister. These laws are going to endure forever. Read on.
All things that keep it shall come to life.
All things that keep it shall come to life. When I look here at 15th and JFK, I just see death and destruction. What do I mean by death and destruction? You walking around, you're physically alive, but spiritually we're dead as God's chosen people.
Right.
We are dead spiritually. You scared of the walking dead and zombies coming back when we're the walking dead right now because we're not keeping God's laws.
That's right.
You're not spiritually alive. But us in the Israelite school of UPK, we're alive, man. And we want you to be alive as well, man. Right. The Lord gave Adam the breath of life, meaning this. The Lord brought Adam up from a low state. He wasn't the first man on the earth. Adam was brought up and given the breath of life. Adam was given the laws, statutes, and commandments, man. And he came to life. We can come back to life too, black man, Latino man and woman, Native Indian man and woman. I pray you understand. Read on.
But such as leave it shall die.
But such as leave it shall die. If you leave God's laws, statutes, and commandments, you die. And not just the physical death, you die a spiritual death, man. And we are spiritually dead as God's chosen people, man. We are spiritually dead as the Lord's people, man. Now is the time for us to wake up and come back and do what God said to do, man. Go back to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 19, man, and read that from the top. Because your pastor has lied, man. They lied to our people telling us that it's all right to keep sinning. That it's all right, you know what I mean, to eat shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster. And to celebrate Thanksgiving and Halloween. They lied to us, brother. They lied to us, sister. Let me show you what Christ said in the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter, in the 19th verse, man. I'm not reading this out the Bible. I'm not giving you my interpretation. I'm not giving you my understanding. We reading it right out the Bible. And these words right here are written in red, meaning Christ said this. The Son of Man said this. Read what you got. Understand this, as God's chosen people, man. Now is the time to come out, you know what I mean, of America. Now is the time to stop using drugs, man. To stop aborting our babies, man. Understand this as God's chosen people, man. We still have laws, statutes, and commandments that we have to keep. They are teaching our people in the Christian church right now that it is all right to continue to be sexual devious, man. We cannot continue to live like that, man. The Lord holds us to a higher standard. Read Matthew chapter 5 and verse 19.
This book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
Now whoever shall break one of these least commandments. Meaning even if you break one of the smallest commandments, man. I understand you like it's okay, just a little weed. It's all right. I just like to have a little fun on the weekends. Read on.
Shall teach me so.
And shall teach men so. Meaning if you're not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, if you teaching that it's all right to break one of the least commandments, man, and you teaching other men and women so, other blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians so, read on.
He shall be called the least in the kingdom.
He shall be called the least in the what?
Kingdom of heaven.
The least in the kingdom of heaven. Your pastor is going to be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, Kenneth Copeland, they're going to be called the least in the kingdom of heaven because they teach it's all right for a man to leave his wife, man, to go get another wife and throw her away, man. A man can have more than one wife, man, as long as you being there and taking care of them, man. Since you're only supposed to be with one man, they teaching you, oh man, that man went and got another rib, you can leave him. They teaching it's all right to smoke a little weed as long as you pay your tithes, man. They teaching us that the law is done away with, but they still incorporating tithes. Goes to show you, man, that your pastor and your imam are liars, man. Right. They teaching our people to break the least commandments, man. And God is saying they gonna be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. Read on.
But whosoever shall do and teach them.
But whosoever shall do and teach them. Who are the ones that do and keep the law, statutes, and commandments, man? Who are they that do and keep the law, statutes, and commandments? Who are the men and women of God, the priests and prophets of God that keep the law, man, that love their brother? Now watch the what? Who's them brothers that went down there to Acuna, Mexico to feed the Haitian men and women, the refugees over there? Who are the ones that went over there and fed them? Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, man. We're the ones that do and keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. We love the Most High God with all thy mind and all thy soul and all thy strength, and love thy brother as thyself. Come over, boy. We the one that love our people, man. We went down there to Acuna, Mexico, man, to feed our Haitian brothers and sisters when nobody else wanted to, man. When nobody else wanted to, because they was too busy sinning. They was too busy being whores and whoremongers. They was too busy doing cocaine, cat. While the priests and prophets of God put boots on the ground in Mexico to feed God's chosen people, man. Right. The Haitian man and woman of the tribe of Levi, man. We're the ones that do so. Read that again from the top.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of the least commandments and shall teach me so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
Those ones shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Those that say it's all right to eat shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster, man. Read on.
But whosoever shall do and teach them.
But whosoever shall do and teach them, the priests and prophets in the Israelite School of ISUPK. Read on.
The same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
They shall be called what?
Great in the kingdom of heaven.
Man, the priests and prophets in the ISUPK are going to be called great in the kingdom of heaven, man. Because we do and keep them, man. Captain Yatazak is going to be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Officer Shapat, Officer Malakwa, man. Officer Karab, Oscar Watt, Marwad, Cap Ariad, Nabah, going to be called great in the kingdom of heaven, man. While your pastor and your imam shall be called least in the kingdom. Because they teach us all right to hate your brother. They teach us all right to be a whore and a whoremonger, man. We have to do what our king said to do. We have to do what our God said to do. And that's keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. Let me get 2 John 1 and 6, Bubba Kashaw. No, let me get Romans 6 and 1 first. The problem is the Christian church, what do they live by? What do they call it? They call it by grace. I walk by grace, baby. I walk in the path of Jesus. Not realizing that you don't even understand what real grace is. Now understand this, and let me break it down for you. You think because Christ came and died, right, that you got grace to go do whatever the hell you want to do. And that's not true. Let me explain something. If you're behind on your PICO bill like most of us, because I'm behind on mine, understand this. When you're behind on that, you call PICO up and they give you a grace period. In that grace period, you have to go and pay that bill. Well, guess what? When Christ died and gave us that grace, this is the time right now, black man, Latino man and woman, First Nation man and woman, to get ourselves together. This is the time to come and change your life for the better. You can put the drugs down, black man, Latino man and woman. You can stop being a whore and a whoremonger. You can stop being a murderer, man. All you got to do is do what God said to do. Come into the Israelite School of ISUPK and learn how to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments the right way. The one West way. Because there's only one way, and that's one West. And if you're not in the ISUPK, you are not in the truth. Read Romans chapter 6 and verse 1.
Romans chapter 6 and verse 1. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin?
What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin? Ain't that what they teach in the Christian church? No, it's all right to sin, baby. We walking in the path of Jesus. Ain't that what they say? We can continue in sin because we got grace. Read on.
The grace may abound.
It's all right. We can sin because we got grace. Let grace abound. Ain't that what they say in the church? They say, no, we can abide in sin. We can just let grace abound. That's what your pastor is talking about right now. But let's see what God has to say about that.
God forbid.
God what?
Forbid.
What?
Forbid.
God what?
God forbid.
God forbid, man. Man, you can't continue to be a whore. You can't continue to be a murderer. You can't continue to be an evil, wicked bastard, man. Drop down to verse 15. The problem is, man, these are the things that they teach us in church. They teach us that it's all right to continue to be homosexual, to be transformers, to hate your brother and your sister, when God said that all those things are an abomination, man. Because the laws, statutes, and commandments are not done away with. Read Romans chapter 6 and verse 15.
The book of Romans chapter 6 verse 15. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law?
What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law? Ain't that what they say in church? They say that. They say, no, brother, we ain't under the law. We don't got to keep the law. Read on.
For under grace?
For under what?
Grace?
For under grace. That's what they say in church. That's what they say in the Muslim mosque. We under grace, baby. We all right. Read on.
God forbid.
Read that again.
God forbid.
God forbid, man. Now is the time, black man, Latino man, and woman. Now is the time to start doing what God said to do. Now is the time to put the weed down. Put the cigarettes down. Leave the whores alone. Stop being a whore yourself, sister. Now is the time to come back and do what God said to do.
That's
because
right.
Guess what, man? We ain't got much longer. The Lord is going to destroy America, man. God is going to destroy America for what they have done to our brothers and sisters, man. It pained me in my soul to see how bad our Haitian brothers and sisters was being treated down there in the Rio Grande. It pains me to my soul, man, to see the torment and pain that our Mexican brothers and sisters and Central American brothers and sisters go through at the border, man. It pains me to see my Hispanic brothers and sisters in cages, man. The oppressor is going to pay for this wickedness. Thus saith the Lord, man.
Yeah. 144 yeah. Yeah.
Everybody ain't built for this, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Man, the Israelite School of UPK and Commander General Yohanna presents Hebrew Academy, man, at the 52nd annual Passover, man. We are an elite group amongst an elite group, man. We the set apart of the set apart. This ain't for everybody, man. Everybody is not required to do the Hebrew Academy. But if you desire to bleed and sweat, man, for these covers, man, if you desire to anguish and pain and all the suffering that it takes to attain this greatness, man, then present yourself worthy at the 52nd annual Passover, man, hosted by Commander General Yohanna at the BH Ranch on April 24th at 14149 Player Street in Houston, Texas, man. Shalom.
Everybody ain't built for this, man. I'm on the grind. Let's get to it. Double time and believe. You ain't harming me, nigga. I brought a whole army of niggas. So I ain't move with precision. Follow every order given. Let's get to it. Make it the race. Get to it. Ain't taking no shit. Get to it. You took a loss, try to bounce back, but you blew it. Let me show you how to do it. Undisputed, I can prove it. One, we can do it. Nigga, ain't nothing to it. Ain't no cops, ain't no excuses. Let's get to it. You hear the truth that I'm speaking? A lot of haters know this. Probably don't understand.
Everybody ain't built for this, man. I'm telling you.